actually, what then happens is, like, every 6 months or so, I can go back to John Lewis or Waterstones and say, oh, look, we've got a memory game now. You're taking, let's say, 5, however many of these products already. You should maybe take, half the amount in the activity books or in the memory game. And so, and sometimes I need to sit back and like, actually, right, that's quite powerful. Actually, you're actually speaking to these guys and you're actually pitching them, and you're already in there. So, hopefully they'll take more of your products and you continue to expand over the years and build on what you have. And so, just having that, and that this is, potentially an ongoing revenue stream that you have that you can basically, hopefully expand. Obviously, there might be ups and downs and, trends and things like that. But
Okay, so hello there, everyone. Welcome to the A Conversation series on the Sound of Accra podcast. So this is the standalone series where we explore the lives, the journey, and celebrate the success of individuals from a Ghanaian heritage or interest in short and sweet episodes. And today I'm joined by the founder of Very, Very Puzzled, Patrick Adom. So a little bit about Very, Very Puzzled. So they offer families of all backgrounds the opportunity to explore and learn more about the richness of Africa and the African Caribbean community. I'm really excited about these products. I've been seeing them just get better and better over the years. And Patrick, I think we met each other at a networking event. I think it was one of the tech networking events within the African community. And then here we are, how many years later? How are you doing, Patrick? Welcome to the show.
I'm very well. Thank you for having me, Adrian. So I think we met at Young Ghanaian event. So and they have a WhatsApp group as well. So we caught up there.
Absolutely, yes.
I don't think you had started your podcast then, and so yeah.
Yeah, I think it was probably just around about the time. It's funny because I think I met you maybe just before I started or just after I started. I think one of those periods, it's such a long time ago now when you think about it. This is January 2020, for those of you who don't know, it's when I started. But I had the idea in 2019, and I told people I was going to start this, and here we are, 2024. It's amazing. It's gone full circle because I did my first episode in Accra in January 2020, and now I'm back in Accra again, January 2024. And about to do season 6. It's crazy. It's crazy how life works. But yeah, look, Patrick, it's great to have you on the show. You're one of those entrepreneurs that I've known for some time. And I think we just had one of those moments the other day when we had a quick call where I was in the Uber, we had a quick call and I was like, why haven't I got you on the show before? But you know what they say, everything works out for a reason. God's timing is the best. And lo and behold, I think you're in a really you're in a fairly solid place at the moment in terms of where Very, Very Positive is and where it's going. We are going to get into that. You're stocked in Hamleys, Waterstones, John Lewis. We're going to get into all of the good stuff. Let's go straight into the interview. Just give our audience, for those of them that don't know about Very, Very Puzzled and what you're doing in the toy and the game space, just explain the product and the explain the product to the audience.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that introduction. I think you kind of covered a lot of it. So we are Very Puzzled, and the idea really started because of my daughter. I wanted to make sure that she was confident and proud of her Ghanaian heritage. We're not doing very well at the football at the moment, but it comes and goes. But no, I just wanted her to be happy. We live in the UK, and we're seen as a minority, but I wanted her to feel fully confident in who she was. And so, the idea of Very Puzzled was came out from that. As you've said, we're now stocked in Hamleys, John Lewis, and Waterstones. It hasn't necessarily been an easy journey. We started in 2018, so it's taken us a number of years to get into those shops, but these things take time. And I think, we are in a good position. Hopefully we can now find distributors so that we can get into more shops in the UK, but also in Europe and America and the rest of the world.
Excellent. I love it. 2024 spells out world domination, European domination, African domination. We love it. The whole shebang. If forget about World War. This is about puzzles going around the world, about to make lives better and happier. I'm really excited about this, Patrick. It's one of my favorite products out there, I must say. And, we're going to talk about how you've really diversified the product, how you've really adapted the product to different brands as well, which I think is really, really clever. And you've really, really, looked at open out of the box methods to really, just make the most out of this product. Really, it's really beautiful to hear that your daughter kind of like led you to kind of create the product. I think that's really exciting. I mean, how does she feel about where it is today and how the business has grown, all because of an idea that she kind of gave you?
Yeah, it's interesting. She's 12 now, so when I started, she was about 6 or so. So before it was a lot easier. She was a lot more, I don't know, happy and involved. Now she's a lot older. She has a phone. She has her own friend group. So, and I'm just not cool at all. So, yeah. So I think she gets it and she appreciates it. And part of the whole thing is she's my co-founder, so she's in the business with me. So it's not that I'm doing it because of her or for her. We're kind of in tandem. And so the idea was that she could learn the business. And so, once she finishes college, school, college, university, whatever it might be, she has that as an inheritance potentially, but also she's seen things, from the inside. And she does contribute in that she'll give me suggestions for products. She'll also review existing products and, she'll from time actually highlight flaws and improvements that can be made. So she's very vocal and she does contribute in those ways. When I ask her and when she wants to be involved, then she also has, ideas in terms of go to market and who should be approached or how certain things can be done. So it's not just a gimmick, and I'm not just using her as a prop because, she'll see, and it's sometimes the smallest things where we had a Ghana activity book and it was talking about adding up like food. So, a child like has a menu and they need to pick what food they might want or they need to, And one of the things she pulled out quite quickly was like, but the Fanta you've got on here is a can. Ghana Fanta's a bottle. Like, this is an Accra. And I was like, I mean, it's small, it's trivial, but also it is important. It's like she's got attention to detail that I don't always have because, I've got more things to worry about, but that's just my excuse. So she's very great in that regard, and she, So I'm fully supportive of her being in the business, and always encourage her to participate and contribute, as much as she can. And when she feels like it, she does.
That's incredible. That's an absolutely amazing story. You have a 12-year-old co-CEO. Her resume or her CV is looking fantastic even before she even hits the legal age of working. I also love the fact that you're leaving something behind for your daughter, generational wealth. You're thinking ahead. She's involved in the business, and also she's also your audience to be potentially as well, because these are the kind of people that are going. Of course, we're going to talk about puzzles for older people as well, but this is potentially probably one of your main audiences, if I'm correct, right? The young kids who are going to use the product, and what better way to have your own kid to actually test and give feedback on the product and help you to improve it, and and give you feedback and keep it up to date with all of the the lingo and the slang or whatever, all these little connotations that relate to someone her age. So I think it's fantastic, and I think you've made the right decision doing what you've done, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I mean, I think we will kind of go into the product a little bit later, and we'll go to the share screen, and then we'll kind of go through the product, so so the viewers who are watching on YouTube, they can kind of see what the product looks like and all the different products that you have for sale. Give us a quick breakdown of Very Very Puzzled. So in terms of like the name itself, like how did that come about?
I mean, backstory. I registered a company. It's called Osebo Limited. Osebo in Tree is the leopard. And I had other ideas. It's only when I sat down with one of my cousins at a wedding, and I was explaining the different ideas, and he glazed over. He wasn't very interested. I'd kind of lost him, and then I mentioned a jigsaw puzzle of the map of Africa, and he's like, like he automatically perked up, and he's like, that's a great idea. Yep, I can see that working. So that made me, go with that idea. And I was just sitting at home, and I was just thinking, what name should I call it? At first I was thinking maybe Black Stars Puzzle or Sanka, then it just kind of just came to me. Oh, very puzzled. Like it's a funny pun. It's a funny
it is. It is,
and it's something that translates to everybody. You don't have to be African or Ghanaian. You don't have to be, And I quickly searched for the domain name, and it was available, so I just registered it and just didn't really look back. Because at the time, for me, it was like, you've got like 100 things to do. You don't want to spend like days, weeks, or months thinking of a name, like the perfect name. Just, And it just happened like that to me. Anyway, that was a nice name, and it rang a bell.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually absolutely love the name. And what I noticed as well, I mean, because we're just on the screen now, is the logo actually reminds me a little bit of, I mean, the little, it's like a little orange kind of curve below the very. It kind of reminds me of the Amazon logo for some reason. The little smile kind of arrow just below it. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that, which is. But I love the fact that you went for that name, because if you went for something such as maybe something to do with Ghana and then puzzled, that may have restricted you from creating products that go outside of Africa. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So I think what you did was genius, because it kind of set you up for like future success and didn't restrict you in terms of what you could do in the immediate time. And that's clearly your daughter in the picture, which is fantastic. But yeah, we're going to come back to the website and take a look at all the different puzzles that you created. All right, cool. So very positive name. I love the name. Before you kind of dive into the puzzles, actually, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Kind of like what you've been like, the kind of like your kind of background, and maybe a little bit about what you were doing that led up to the puzzle.
Yeah, so I was born in Ghana. I moved to the UK when I was 7. Before moving to the UK, my mum moved here before me, so I spent like parts of my early childhood with my grandmother and my great aunt. And I absolutely loved it there. They adored me. They treated me like a little emperor. I was like very, very cheeky. I would talk back. I would, make requests and demands. And this was at a time where, children would just be beaten mercilessly for like the smallest infraction and nobody ever, laid a finger on me, other than one of my aunts, but I deserved it, which is fine. So I was just running around, just waiting for the day that I kind of get called to go to a broochie, to go to where the streets are paved with gold and that kind of thing. But I came to the UK.
And trees.
It was cold. Yeah, the food wasn't as tasty and I don't know. It was just everything it was a huge adjustment for me. But it was fine. You adapt. You're young, and you grow up. You forget your accent. You assimilate. Yeah, and I didn't do very well at school. I don't know why. I just wouldn't focus. I wouldn't sit. I graduated with like 3 GCSEs. It was just terrible. My mum obviously wasn't happy. But I did go into university, and I got a degree, and I got a master's degree. So maybe I redeemed myself. But I think in my household, we had an extended family. With aunts, uncles, cousins, and things. And so I think, it was kind of drummed into us, kind of make your family proud and, just trying to achieve, you're here for a reason. Just, make use of the opportunities that you have, and the benefits that you gain from being in this country, because there's people still to this day, struggling, risking their lives to get to this country because they can see the opportunity. So, so that was that really. Just obviously African parents, very strong in academics. want you to be successful, and just having that drilled into you. But I think I was always a bit of a tearaway, a bit of a maverick, and kind of wanted to do my own thing. But I just didn't understand or know what that was. And maybe it wasn't till later in life when maybe, I could strike out on my own. I could maybe understand myself a bit better, maybe focus on my passions. And I think really the birth of my daughter kind of made things a bit more crystal and just gave me that focus and that sense of purpose. Because just me, myself, it's like, it's okay, right? I can kind of coast through life, but having another person that depends on you and kind of relies on you, just gave me that sense of, oh, right, okay, this is my purpose, and I've got to, really do something worthwhile, and so that's what inspired me and kind of got me going, really.
Wow. That's pretty incredible. I can definitely relate to you in terms of growing up a little bit in Ghana. I lived there 3-4 years, went to school there and everything, and even picked up the accent. But then I kind of ran back to the UK, before the accent could be set in stone. But yeah, definitely, understand, having African parents, drilling into you, education, academics, and getting good grades and all that good stuff. But also on the flip side, I can also relate to you in terms of people maybe not getting those opportunities here in Ghana, for example, and having to work their socks off and not really getting much, probably having to live hand to mouth in some cases. You see like the street hawkers, etc. I mean, I wrote an article called, about street hawkers, and that kind of went viral years ago. But it really kind of depicted, like what they go through, and also the hustle and the work ethic that they have to really survive in the streets. And if we had that in the West, it could be a whole different story for a lot of people. But yeah, humble, hardworking upbringing. But it looks like you've kind of turned whatever challenges or disadvantages or barriers you've maybe faced in life into advantages. I mean, maybe you didn't get the best GCSEs, but also you managed to go to university and even get a master's. I don't have a master's, and then you had a beautiful daughter, and then she's inspired you to go and create this business. You understand? So you have some wonderful things in your life that's pushed you to where you are today, and it's just amazing what you're doing. But yeah, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. I'm sure the audience can relate to that as well.
I hope so.
Excellent. So look, let's go straight into the puzzles. So I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna share a screen again. We're gonna have a look at the puzzles. Maybe you can talk us quickly through some of the puzzles that you have. All right. So on the screen now, and I think this is one of the first puzzles that I remember seeing. I think it was the 100-piece or the 32-piece African map giant jigsaw puzzle. I think it was this one. Yeah, I think if the screen just loads, I think it was this one. I don't know if can you see that?
Yeah, so that was the first puzzle that we did.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, I wanted to really have something that my daughter, could feel proud of. And obviously Africa resonates to, any Black person anywhere in the world. And that really went well when it came out. So at first I wasn't sure if I should even do it. So I had the design done and I had a sample made, and I reached out to my cousins and my brothers that we have in a WhatsApp group and just, showed it to them, got their feedback, and, they were like, yeah, we would support this, if you need any money, we would contribute. And that gave me the acknowledgement, or that gave me the confidence to go ahead and do it myself. And so I ordered, I think it was like 100 at the time the minimum I could do. And yeah, within about a week, they were pretty much sold out because I'd gone to several shops and, the shops took them. I'd gone to like a market and I sold quite a few. And so, yeah, I just went back and ordered more. And then from then it was like, okay, what else can I do? I could have made different versions of the Africa puzzle, like more pieces, fewer pieces, different designs. But I kind of decided to go straight and do a Ghana one because, as I said, I really wanted to make sure, my daughter was proud of who she was. And I could also imagine, the Ghanaian community really supporting such a product, which they have done. And that went well. And then from then we did like Ethiopia and Nigeria and South Africa. And I don't know if backlash is the word, but we've got some grumbles about, what about the Caribbean? Why don't we have any Caribbean? Like, why is it always all skewed to Africa? And it's like, okay, cool. So we did a Jamaica one. We were going to do one anyway. And initially my plan was which countries have the biggest population. So Nigeria, Ethiopia, and Africa. And then we did Jamaica, which has a population of about, I think, 2-3 million. And that's the second best selling product we have. And so it's like, oh, wow. Yeah. So it's like, actually, it's not how many people you have, it's how patriotic they are. And so that was a really good learning experience for us. And so from that, we did a Caribbean one, Barbados, Trinidad, so we've also started to build out the whole range within the Caribbean as well. We've done other things. So we created a set of posters that go with most of the puzzles. We also started to create some T-shirts that children can color in that go with the puzzles. And what we're really excited about now is our activity book. So this is where, it's 52 pages and children can do different types of activities. So it could be coloring in, it could be solving, crosswords and word searches, it could be doing like a maze, just a whole collection of different activities. And the thing for us is everything that we do is focused, on a particular country, continent, or region. But also we want it to be interactive for the child. So, they're doing something that's educational, but they're seeing it as fun. And so, they're going to be engaged, and they're going to be happy to, do what they're doing basically. And, it gives the parents, some free time that maybe they can do other things, while the child is engaged, or, you can spend quality time together and, do these activities, as a family.
Beautiful. I mean, you really are, catering to that, that kind of that young child, that family type audience. Because let's face it, if your products were just limited to puzzles, it's all well and good. But I bet you'll think to yourself after a while, what's that next step we can take after just selling puzzles? Oh, an activity book. Oh, maybe a memory game. Oh, maybe even a T-shirt. Color in T-shirt. Not just a T-shirt, color in T-shirt that kids can get involved in and color in. And I can see here you've got, again, quite a few, T-shirts here which kids can color in. And I think that's genius. I wasn't even really familiar with the concept of a coloring T-shirt. And of course, you got a Ghana one, and whatever country the kids are from, they can get the T-shirt, color it in, and then of course they can wear it afterwards as well, which is brilliant. So I think from just taking the idea of initial puzzle, I think you've done a brilliant job in terms of taking that initial idea of one original puzzle set, expanding it to different countries and continents, and then kind of like following that kind of same theme or following that same kind of process, and then replicating it in different types of products. And I think you've done an amazing job, Patrick. You should really give yourself a pat on the back. These are not tacky products, so these are really good, high quality products. The illustrations are beautiful. It's really colorful. And I'm sure the kids love it too. I'm sure families and parents love it too, who of course will be buying these products for their kids as well. So I'm sure you have to appeal to them in a certain way. But is there anything for adults?
Not at the moment, specifically towards adults. We might do like a 500-piece puzzle going forwards. The idea is that adults can still sit with the children in their lives, whether it's their own child or it's their nephew or niece or whatever it might be, grandchild, and they can still engage and, share their experiences of that country or ask any questions that a child might have, because, between, certain ages, I don't know, like 3 to 7, or, children just ask why all the time. They've just got hundreds and hundreds of questions. And so as the adult, if you're doing a puzzle, they might ask, who's that person? What's that thing? Have you eaten that? So you're already there. So even though you're not maybe doing the puzzle yourself, you're still, being involved and you're providing value. Obviously, adults can do the puzzle. It wouldn't necessarily be challenging for them. But I think as an adult, we work, we're stressed, we come home, we eat badly, we binge on TV and actually, or we binge on social media, right? So actually, half an hour to an hour doing a puzzle is productive in that, it reduces your stress, your anxiety. It kind of is a stress reliever. And you're not scrolling social media and getting depressed by other people's highlight reels and that sort of thing. So although it's aimed at children, adults can still get value, and it's still just, a nice thing that you can do that's just, mindfulness basically, which, we all need to hopefully, or I think, we could all practice and do more. So, we will possibly do adult puzzles in future, but also I think there is still value in what we have for adults at the moment. So, yeah.
That's actually amazing. I think you're saving families, Patrick, because an average family of today's day and age on the dinner table, probably most of them are on their phones, right?
Right.
And then maybe the parent, depending on what type of parent it is, the parent might accept it, they may allow it, or they might be like, hey, get off your phones, we're going to talk as a family kind of thing. And the person or the kid might be like, oh, mommy, daddy, I don't really want to get involved. But with the puzzle, it's like, not only does the kid want to get involved, the parent wants to get involved as well. So you're getting them away from the TV, from the screens, from social media, as you mentioned as well. And then you're also, improving their mental health, because, the more time was absorbed by these screens is not very good for us. So you're hitting a lot of points with this puzzle, and it's crazy. Something as simple as a puzzle can do so many different things. So again, I just want to congratulate you for the work you've done. I've seen you've been featured in quite a few media press, Forbes, Channel 4, and the rest. So you've got some really good PR out there as well. In terms of achievements and stuff, talk us through achievements that you're proud of. I mean, I know you were an award winner from the Junior Design Awards and the Independent Toy Awards of 2023. Talk us quickly through that.
Thank you for that. I mean, I think really for me, I think just starting and continuing is really my proudest achievement. I think, because we got on Dragon's Den in 2020. It didn't get on air, and we didn't get funding. And I was really I was really taken aback. I was really saddened by it, and because you feel like this could be life changing. And it brought me to tears, because
I'm sorry to
really,
hear that.
I think the thing is, the realization for me was like, just making my family proud is really my goal, my aim, and my biggest achievement and accomplishment. I think everything else, all the awards, accolades, all the features, they're great, and a lot of it is really luck. I mean, you can work hard, but there's a huge element of luck. I think really just making my family proud, and just being able to look my daughter in the eye and honestly say, I've tried, and I've given, I've put in a good effort. I can never not tell her to follow her dreams, because I know that, I'm pursuing mine. And so I feel like just doing that alone, that's the thing that I'm most proud of. And just making my family proud, making my mum proud. That's, that everything else is a bonus. That's kind of, that's my main thing.
That's powerful, Patrick. Really, thank you for sharing that. It's very clear family drives you, the most when it comes to, what you're doing and who you are and your business. And as a result of that, you're also seeing the benefits and the fruit and the profits from that as well, which is beautiful. But yeah, I think, at the end of the day, it's it's giving you all, and letting and then I think what makes it worthwhile is the family behind you, and seeing you do great, and seeing you kind of like contribute something and making them proud. I think that also kind of gives you a sense of satisfaction that nothing really can't in this life. Of course, I mean, God is up there, but it really is a driving force. And I know the power of family, just wanting to make family proud, wanting to leave something behind. It really is something deep to the core of your soul that you can't really explain. explain, what that means. So I totally understand where you're coming from, and I'm sure it's going to continue to be a driving force for you. On the topic of motivation, what would you say to aspiring entrepreneurs or or creators or people that want to maybe start a business or start something? What would you say? I mean, what tips would you give to them that want to start something, especially when they hit a hurdle? I mean, you talked about Dragons, they're not getting through, and that even bring you to tears. Didn't even make it to TV. Of course, as hard as it is, it would kind of set you back. What tips would you give to entrepreneurs who face setbacks? What should be their motivation? How can they keep going when things get tough?
Yeah, there's no real easy answer. It's a challenge. I mean, people always say have a why, and that can always refer back to your why. I think one of my main thing is just always be yourself and to believe in yourself. So, and they sound really simple, but it's quite important just to be yourself, because you can't be anybody else. If people don't like you for who you are, then at least and there's no point being somebody else, because then if they don't like that, you just turn, you go around. So just always be yourself, but also you have to believe in yourself. You have to back yourself. You have to, think that you can do it and think that you're capable. Because it gets hard, people are going to doubt you, but more so people are just not going to understand what you're trying to do, maybe, or appreciate. Yeah. So you just have to believe in yourself and just keep going. If you can, it's not easy. So yeah, I think, especially when I was starting, and even myself, sometimes you project all of the glamour and you project all of the success and all of the highlights and all of the wins. And what I've tried to do is I email, my subscribers like once a month. And what I tried to do as well is highlight just the things that didn't go right, or some of the disappointments and hurdles, because I think it's good to share those as well and be honest. And yeah, I think people appreciate that, because I would get emails back like, well done, you're doing well. And, so yeah, it's not easy. That's not to discourage anybody, because if you've got the passion, and it's your calling, then by all means go for it. I think one of the things that I've learned and I'm trying to understand is just patience, because I'll email like 100 people in a day or two, and just not hear anything for like weeks, months, even years, and people don't eat. I'm like, wow, what? And it's like, okay, yeah, let's talk. And similar with you, right? Like we met like 5, 6, 7 years ago, and it's only now that we're actually connecting and actually doing a pod. So it's patience, and sometimes things fall into place at the right time. And that's something that I'm not necessarily used to, and especially in this day and age where everything's kind of instant, and just learning to play the long game, as it were. And as an example, like getting stocked in John Lewis, Hamleys, these things were all great, and it looks great on the CV, as it were. But actually, what then happens is, like, every 6 months or so, I can go back to John Lewis or Waterstones and say, oh, look, we've got a memory game now. You're taking, let's say, 5, however many of these products already. You should maybe take, half the amount in the activity books or in the memory game. And so, and sometimes I need to sit back and like, actually, right, that's quite powerful. Actually, you're actually speaking to these guys and you're actually pitching them, and you're already in there. So, hopefully they'll take more of your products, and you continue to expand over the years and build on what you have. And so, just having that, and that this is, potentially an ongoing revenue stream that you have, that you can basically, hopefully expand. Obviously there might be ups and downs and, trends and things like that. But, yeah, it's so yeah, having that patience and just having that long game in mind, I think, hopefully will bear fruit. Because also, just quickly to add, you do get the sense sometimes, this company turned over 20 million in 1 year, or this company made $1 billion in 5. You get like the big figures, and it doesn't always work like that. And a lot of business, as far as I'm aware, maybe aren't profitable for like the first few years, and a lot of businesses go under within the first. So I think, yeah, having that longevity is something that maybe should be celebrated as well.
Yeah, you should definitely celebrate it, Patrick. I think it's 90% of businesses fail in the first 3 years, or is it 5 years? So I mean, we're now speaking 6 years later since you started your business, and you're still here. So definitely give yourself a pat on the back. You've survived the pandemic, which is another filter or tester for a lot of people, a lot of businesses as well. It could have gone one or the other way for people during the pandemic as well. You're still here, and yeah, I mean, you played the long game. It's paid off. And it's still paying off. And you've been honest. You've been honest. You've been authentic. You're sharing with your audience. You're sharing with your subscribers the downs. But at the same time, you're also getting ups that come with that as well. And then, you don't get the ups without the downs. And those that just want to show off the fancy revenue figures, it's not always it, because you know what they say, vanity is insanity, profit is sanity. So you could have this huge revenue, but at the end of the day, what's the profit really say? What do you get to take home? That's what it matters at the end of the day. And, and you've been able to take something home to your daughter, to your family, to your wife, or whatever. Do you get it? So you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Yeah. And great. And quickly, 2024 goals?
The key one for us is continue to expand our product range. So really build out the activity books and the memory games that we're really, really excited about. And then the other thing is really just to find a distributor. So we were speaking to a distributor in America. They said no. We're now talking to another distributor that's UK and America. One in Germany and one in South Africa potentially. So we're just really, really excited about finding a distributor, because that then means, you've got other people championing the product, other people doing the sales, other people leveraging their own channels and networks to really grow the business. And I think it gets to that point where, it's a business that hopefully my daughter could basically manage in the next, few years, 2 to 3 years, even, because typically it would just be like sending an email to the distributor, finding out the order numbers, and then sending an email to the manufacturer to manufacture. And it's something that she could, probably do now if I showed her. So I feel like, she could be learning the ropes, and maybe getting pocket money, or maybe putting on a payroll. And again, having that when she really wants it, she's got something that she can play with, when she's older. But I just feel it's a learning experience, and it can kind of demystify things, so that when she has it, because she's got her own ideas, and it's just showing her this is the process. And so if she wants to develop her own product line, whether within this range or of her own, or whatever she wants to do, really, it's not magic. There's just like a process. So even if she wants to be, I don't know, an astronomer, or I don't know, yeah, whatever it might be, it just showing her that you can actually go for it, and giving her the confidence to strike out on her own, whatever it is she wants to do in life.
Absolutely. I really love how you've got family in mind, and you really want to leave an inheritance and build generational wealth for your family, and really be that father figure for your daughter, and also hand something over to her that she can take over in the near future, or even joint venture with you. And I think what an amazing thing would it be to be in business with a son, with a daughter, and then to see them eventually take it over from you. I mean it's quite a sight. So I'm looking forward to that day when she goes from co-CEO to CEO. what an interesting sight that would be. And I think I've seen that in I think it was a Lamborghini movie I watched, or the Ferrari movie I watched, and I think Lamborghini had a son, had a few sons, and I think one of the sons ended up taking over him, I think, and then he ended up dying, and the son took over. And I think it's quite common in Italian families, but I think the secret to longevity is having family take over the business. And when you have a successor lined up, it just makes things easy to keep that generation going. But when you don't, things can be quite messy. And I've noticed that with certain businesses, but the family-owned businesses tend to be the most, or genuine, and seem to be the most the long running ones as well, and sometimes the most profitable too. So, I think you're onto something, and really proud of you, what you're doing, not just in the Ghanaian community, the African community, and now the Caribbean community, because the Jamaica wants a piece of the pie too, no pun intended, or a piece of the puzzle, but also what you're doing around the world. So yeah, I just want to congratulate you, Patrick. You're doing a great job, and I definitely need to order some of those puzzles this year.
Yeah, thank you so much. No, you're absolutely correct, because especially, like I said, the Italians. I think it was Ferrari, maybe, because that's quite a new film that's come out. But like Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, that's owned by like a guy, and he's like, all his children are like own different like bright brands, and obviously you've got Rupert Murdoch, like him or not, one of his children is inheriting, his business. And then things like Gucci, I don't know, Prada. These are all names of people, like actual people's names we're wearing, and it's their family that owns it. So we should definitely try to do more of that, and I think it's good competition as well. Like each and every one of us in our families, building something that we're competing against. Okay, they've got the puzzles. We're going to do the farming. We're going to do the real estate, and then you're building up your family name. Your house basically, right? And sometimes I think maybe in Italy, because different families had their things, I think that maybe spurs you on. Okay, we want to be as good as their family. We don't want to be left behind, or So you kind of take pride, and then at some point maybe the families maybe even like marry, and then you build that dynasty and that kind of thing. So maybe that's something that we need to do more in Ghana and across Africa as a whole, in the Caribbean, to just build up our families.
Absolutely, that's the key. Family unit, keeps things moving. Keeps things moving. Okay. Well, Patrick, it's been great having you on the show. Really enjoyed this conversation. Most importantly, where can everyone find Very Puzzled on social media, and where can they get those hands on the puzzle? I mean, we've shown them the website. They can definitely get it from the website, but where else can they get it?
Yeah, so definitely on our website. Our social media is Very, Very Puzzled on all of the social media networks. Very Puzzled was already taken on social media, so we just went with Very, Very Puzzled. And also I'll shout out the Black-owned businesses. So try going into Diverse in Brixton, the Black Cultural Archives also in Brixton. Those are two really great places. And also the Black Pound Day shop in Westfield, Stratford and White City. You can get it there. We are also available in Wild Gecko in Accra and My Booksy in Accra as well, for those in Ghana. And then if you're not in any of those places, any of those locations, then you can go to obviously Hamleys, John Lewis and Waterstones, which are national retail brands. And you can also check on those websites, and you can see which branches have it, but also you can order click and collect from most of those shops as well.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, you've definitely spread your wings in terms of distributors, and I'm sure you're going to spread even more in 2024. Patrick, you're doing an amazing job with the puzzle and with your family, and looking forward to seeing where you're going to be the next year to even 5 years. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Adrian. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. All right, guys. So there you have it, and we'll leave all the links and some of the key points mentioned in the podcast player, if you're listening on the podcast player, or on the YouTube channel in the description below if you're watching the YouTube. All right, guys. So we're going to see you in the next conversation.